All right. So next time I gotta make sure I don't use the stay tuned. That's an intro to my one stream. Let me just make sure that you can hear me and we should be good to go. All right. So let me check. I'm just messaging my manager and checking. Let me also make sure that I have my chat connected and we should be good. All right. So as you can see, I'm wearing my Superman t-shirt. That is Superman is one of my favorite characters since I was a young kid watching Superman. All right. So anyway, so today I wanted to go over. I was gonna do a whole really uh, something technical, but I realized that, hold on a second. Just got a message that there are 2. Yeah, so something's going on. Hopefully, that there are 2. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, hopefully you are watching this, in the future, and, there seems to be 2 separate, live events on YouTube, but anyway, um okay, I just got the confirmation that she could hear me. All right, so let me restart this again. As you can see, I am wearing a Superman T-shirt. One of my favorite characters from when I was a kid, right? Watching Superman. So anyway, so um, today I wanted to go over something to really build out a one system. And one of the things I realized after talking or conversing with a lot of business owner is there's a lot of maybe overwhelmed or um, there's a lot of confusion. And so I wanted to, so basically what I decided to do is to map it out on um, on a whiteboard. So that way that everybody that's watching now or watching if you're watching the recording to have a little bit more clarity in your business. I don't care if it's a brick and mortar business or whether it's an online business. Um, Once you realize and see the overall scope and see and get clarity on what I'm talking about, hopefully it'll make sense to you. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen. Um, the title of this was to build out your one income system utilizing AI employee. Right. I'm not even gonna talk about AI at this point because I think to get real clarity on this, let me just. I want to talk about this. Let me just bear with me. I'm trying to use a whiteboard and hopefully, let me see here. All right. So I have this whiteboard. And so what I'm going to do here, I have these 5 dots and I'll explain what that dot is for. So let me go and put here. And so, um, when we talk about any business, right, and we look at the very beginning. When I say beginning, so you know, at the end of the day, you're trying to get customers or clients, right? And so at the very beginning is where um, I'm going to talk about marketing, right? So basically, this is marketing, right? And then the next stage is basically the way I look at it is capture, right? Capture. And then the next thing that we look at is we look at sales, right? And then, convert, right? And the next thing that we have to look at is we have to look at deliverability, I guess, deliverability, or, in some cases, we're talking about transaction, right? With maybe you're in a service profession, in that case, it will be transaction, right? If it's a restaurant, or for that matter, you're selling products online, it's delivery of that product, or, that consumable. In the case of a restaurant, it would be food or whatever, or drink. Um, and then we talk about recapture, right? And I'm going to go into detail on each of these. And the reason I'm talking about this is because you have to, um, this system, whether whatever business you're in, you have to create a system for your business. Otherwise, you are going to have a hard time continuously, um, doing everything manual, and you're gonna continuously spin your wheels. And so, like, when I think about this, like, if somebody were to tell me this at the, 20 years ago, like, it would have been, a light bulb. But, 20 years ago, it would have, I'm at a different stage in my life. And so, this may not make sense at that point, right? But hopefully, I am bringing a little bit clarity to you, right? If you're at the beginning stages of your business, or even if you're 5 years into the business, I hope this will make sense for you. All right. And let me just check, make sure there's no chat here. So when we talk about marketing, right, at the very beginning stage, right here in marketing, right, there's so many different ways of marketing. I'm gonna just go through and list all the ones that I have done. And I tell you, I've done all of these, right? And the problem with trying to do all of this is that because you're constantly resetting, and so I've done them all. And so that, I mean, I'm at this stage and this point realizing that I've tried them all. And I think one of the things that I realize, as everybody is different. And so everybody is going to resonate with different marketing strategy. And so if you watch a YouTube video, or you watch something and says, "Oh wow, that's a strategy, right? Maybe I should try that." That may not work for you, because you are you, and there's only one unique you. And so one strategy may not work, because it might not work for you, because the way you're built, right? I think, God has given you unique talents, given, abilities. And so you really have to know who you are before you decide, okay? And finalize on specific strategies. And it also depends on your skill set as well. All right. So we're talking about, maybe I should have made it a little smaller, but cold outreach. Now, cold outreach can be email, cold calling. It could be different, DMing, messaging various contacts on social media. So there could be, that's cold outreach, right? There is social media. When I talk about social media, we're talking about mainly pushing out content on social media, right? There is networking, right? This is you going to networking events, and networking, online groups or whatever, and connecting with people, right? Or you can actually be the one to create these networking events or workshops, right? Could be workshops, it could be meetups, right? It can be Facebook groups, right? Trying to save space here. And then there is what's called, referrals, right? I get this a lot from real estate agents, or professionals, that they get most of their business from referrals, right? And I think that is valid, but there's really no system, because you're at the mercy of whoever refers you. And so, it's a chance by chance, right? But I know many professionals that have built great businesses based on referrals, right? There is email and SMS campaigns, right? SMS campaigns, right? That is assuming that you have um, a what do you call it, a contact or list, right? This is specifically useful if you've been in business for a long time and you've have a sphere of influence and you have a great network, right? Now, then there is SEO. Well, let me go here. SEO, right? Now, SEO is basically online search, right? These are what I like most of like these are really people are looking for you to solve a problem. And so they're searching for you and they're looking for a solution. And so, and if you pop up in front of them based on a search, whether it's Google, Bing, Yahoo, or nowadays it's ChatGPT or other AI platforms, right? Now, then we go into what's called ads, right? There is so many different ads. There is PPC, running Google PPC. There is local service ads, right? Google has local service ads. Then there's various social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook. You can run ads specifically on those platforms, right? Now, you look at all of these are marketing, right? And and then the next piece is the capture portion. So once, let's just say you are running whatever marketing strategy and you're getting people to come to you, right? And then they are these are the various ways of capturing people, right? Whether it's social media, right? Meaning that each platform has a way to uh, communicate with people, right? They could be DMing you, they can be doing, uh, they could be going to a link that is on your profile, right? And that link usually um, is can be a landing page or could be a website, right? Then there are calls, right? Or text message. People text message you, right? If people are referring you, they're gonna call you or they're gonna text you. They then there are emails, right? You get emails from people, right? And then there are website, right? Um, I'm gonna put websites and landing pages together. Landing pages, right? Landing pages, if you run ads, then they could go to a landing page, right? Now, on websites, right, or landing pages, there are forms, or specifically on the on landing pages, there's probably there, you know, a lot of some companies have what's called a chatbot, right? Um, chatbot, right? And I'm putting this all this here so that you understand that running a business it's a lot. There's a lot involved, right? But if you simplify it, right? It's and I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible, right? Because you can't tackle all of this. This is nearly impossible, right? So anyway, so let's go into sales. Now, sales and conversion, right? And there's a saying that the money is in the follow-up, and it is, right? Because you have to capture these people and then you have to follow up. And how do you follow up with these people? And that's really um a lot of people like are trying to tackle so many different pieces in this system. It's hard, right? And so because they would try to tackle one system, they'll try to tackle one and they don't finish it, and then they end up going to another, right? Because they're trying to put out fires in various places. That reminds me, there's a book that I'm reading. It's called Fix It. See, right? I actually read all of Mike McAllowett's books. I recommend this if you are trying to figure out what to fix next in your business. Okay. All right. So then comes deliverability or delivery of transaction. So now this is really on you, right? Because I'm every business is different, every product. So unless like if your product or your service stinks, then you're not going to have a business for long, right? So, but I'm assuming that most businesses or people or entrepreneurs enjoy or have a passion for what you're doing, and so that is really on you. And so Um, and then lastly is the recapture, right? Recapture is now there's various ways and you can do recapture. You can do send SMS, you can send emails, right? By whatever, newsletters or email campaigns or okay. And then there is what's called like retargeting in the space of online. You can retarget people that once they come back, once you have their information, then you can retarget them on social media, right? Or you can basically follow them online. Okay. So knowing all this, right? This is what I consider the system, right? And so what is that system for you? Right? And there is no magic pill that you can take to say, okay, this is one path and one lane that you're going to take. But the ultimate goal, right, is to pick certain path and build a what I call a system. What I call a system is that it kind of continues on, right, or it loops around. And so in the age, well, I don't say age, in right now, currently with the, what's going on with AI. Now, I just started implementing AI basically in August of this year, right? And it has changed the way I look at things. It has changed the way that I view the things that I do in my business, and it has helped me, but at the same time, it has confused the heck out of me as well because garbage in, garbage out, right? With when you start utilizing AI, when you put in stuff or input that that AI doesn't know, then it's gonna feed it garbage based on what's out there, right? So I think experience matter in that case, right? So where can you, as a business owner, right, implement AI, right? Employee. I call it employees because this is what I am mainly focused on, right? What can what part of what part of these systems can we implement AI so that way that it takes the load off of you, it takes the load off of your team, it takes the load off of something that you're doing consistently manually, right? At the end of the day, there are things that you need to do manually that is on you because you are the business owner, right? Or if you're watching this, maybe you are a staff in a business, right? And so how can you as a staff member utilize or leverage AI so that you can make your system better, make your system um, that it functions uh, more efficiently, right? Just last week, I implemented, well, not implemented, but really solidify and basically, if I get calls right here, so this is where I focus on, where I get calls, the AI employee picks up the calls and basically gets the information, and that basically um, that it will go to me, then I would follow up, right? Now, the next piece of the puzzle for me as you implement this, like, you can only tackle one at a time. But I think one of the as I'm doing business audits right now with various businesses. So if you're watching this and you want, what is the next step? Like, at the end of the day, you're watching this. What is the next step, right? I think one of the first steps that you need to do, okay, is it depends on where you are in your business, right? And so I would say you're watching this, DM me if you are a local business owner, right? And DM me and ask me to do an audit. And basically, what I'll do is I'll take a quick look at your audit. I may ask you some questions, and I will look at your audit and basically see where I may see some breaks in your business, right? Because maybe you have some break at the beginning here at the visibility portion. Because let's just say that you rely a lot on your business on word of referral, right? So if you base your business on referrals you and then people Google you, right? And they can't find you. So there right there, it breaks that chain of confidence, the chain of trust, right? If they can't find information on you, then there's no maybe testimonials, there's no reviews, and then that's something that you have to work on, right? If you happen to have a decent website and decent presence online, and then I Google you and I do an audit and I see that there's certain things that doesn't look right online, then you have to fix that as well, right? There's no right and there's no one path, right? So I would say if you're a local business owner and you're looking to see what's the next step, DM me and I would gladly do a quick 5-minute audit on your business and take it from there. Now, if you're an agency owner, right, and you're looking to figure out how you can implement this in your business, right, then I do have a community called Freedom Voice. I'll put the link below. Let me see if I have. Let me see if I have it on my. See if I have a banner. No, I don't have a banner set up. Sorry about that. So I will put the link in the description later, right? So another thing that I want to mention in this live that a lot of business owners they say one thing, right, and then I find out later that they don't mean what they say. So I'll give you a prime example, right? Um, there's let's just say somebody comes to me and say, like, I I don't I'm not worried about generating leads right now. I just, you know, want to basically fix my online presence, right? Majority of time, so that's why they at the end of the day they're looking for leads, right? And so my job as I guess when I talk to them is really extract what they mean by that because ultimately they are looking for leads, and if they're looking for leads, it depends on where they are in their business, right? Because if they have been in business for like 5, 10, let's just say 5 years, and they don't have visibility, then I may work on that. But if they say to me that, hey, I need leads right now, then we have to think of a different strategy because trying to fix your visibility is not going to get you immediate results. What's going to give you immediate results is that depending upon whether you have an email list or database, then I may suggest that we do what's called a database reactivation or something to reactivate your past leads or your past contacts, to re-engage them, to try to see if there's some way that you can provide value to them, right? To those people that have opted in or that you have communicated to before, right? Um, Now, if they don't have an email list, then that's a whole different, then you have to figure out when you look at this marketing right here, this all this marketing, what is it that you can do, right? Depending on your budget, depending on where you are in your journey. Um, all of these work. It's just a matter of what's going to work for you, right? So I hope that makes sense. Um, so I know initially in this um, live, I was thinking about really to just try to build something, but I realized I think at the end of the day, um, clarity is once you have clarity in your business, it's easier to go in a specific direction. And I think as entrepreneurs, we sometimes get so uh, clouded in our because we have so many things to do in our business. It's sometimes very difficult to see clear, right? And so I hope that this video gave you some clarity in the things that you have to do in your business. Oops, sorry about that. Um, and like I said, I think if you need a third eye, and I am doing for probably this month and next month, doing audits, right? And there's no pitch, no sales. Just to give you clarity in your business. I'll take a look at your business, right, from a third eye, third view perspective, and see where there might be leaks in your system in your business, right? Um, I'll probably maybe ask you some questions. I may not even need to ask questions because I basically know majority of the scenarios out there. But if you are a local business, yes, go ahead and direct message me. I can be found online. If you search for me, Paul Kim 360, I can be found there. If you are an agency owner and you're looking to implement this system, I'm more than glad. The system that I'm doing and implementing is something that I'm gonna freely share with everybody because at the end of the day, I think people need clarity, people need help, and so I'm providing um, those agency owners because I specifically ask those questions when you join the community, who you are. My goal is to help agents, not to say that I'm not helping local businesses. I that community specifically after thinking about it for a long period of time is for agencies that are implementing what I'm implementing because um, I think this is something that I learned from one of my a group that I joined a while back, Shalene Johnson, and she calls it lifers, right? And these are people that are behind me in my path, and so those are a couple of steps behind me. And so my goal is to help those that are a couple of steps behind me. And if you are interested in implementing or helping business owners, right, implement these systems, then join the community and make sure you answer those questions because I'm not gonna let you in unless you answer those questions. All right, I'm very, very. It's gonna be yeah, gated. No spammers, no hackers, no people that take rather than give. That's my philosophy. All right. So I hope that helps. Um, let me see if there's any comments or chats. And one of the things I don't like about this, yeah, I may actually migrate over to in my future training, my utilize, I may transfer over and do it on Zoom so that I get more interaction. And so just I'm learning as I'm going, and I've tried this other platform before. I forget what it was called. Forget already. So I'm using OneStream. I like this platform a little better, and but one thing I don't get is the interaction. So if anybody wants to, has questions, they can raise a hand, and I think that you can do in a Zoom call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try figure out how to implement Zoom and then broadcast that out. So I think I'm going to try that, but I'm going to continue doing this until there's so many things I can do and improve, but constantly trying to improve on these lives and these trainings as well. I don't know, call it coaching or training. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Leave me a message. As always, subscribe to my channel if this was helpful. Um, like I said, DM me, find me if you want a audit of your business, and or join my community if you're local, if you're an agency. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Friday. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be doing live on Friday. I don't think I have anything scheduled, but I'm gonna be showing up. Okay, bye now.